Péter Kerekes for Wishing on a Star, which is part of the 11th Continent programming section at the 2024 Marrakech International Film Festival. This was shown in Venice, so this is really fresh. A wise woman once said that love could come from around the corner. I thought the film was something light, was something agreeable, but what you found was something really deep and personal and lovely. I mean, the quest for wanting to match people comes from a really nice place. No matter what we think about astrology as a pseudoscience or whatever the hell that is, your protagonist is trying to do some really cool stuff. How you were introduced to her as a subject, as a potential idea for a docu, it was sort of like not forced upon you, but your producer and the powers that be wanted you to look into this person. So I wanted to get a sense of, once you're stripping back the layers in that 1 hour dinner with her, what is it that connected you to her? Not necessarily profession, but her as an individual, because she has her heart in the right place.
Yes. I didn't want to make this film.
No, that's crazy.
It's not my idea. It's the idea of my producer Erica Barbiani, and she invited me to make this film, and I was refusing it for 3 years. Like, I cannot make a film about astrology. You know, I'm making serious films, serious documentaries on social topics, historical topics. You know, films shown on Marrakech Film Festival, and not astrology. But after 3 years, I finally agreed to meet at least Luciana, to have a dinner with her, and then to see what's next. And that was the magic. I was a little bit late, as usual. I'm not very well organized.
Okay.
And Luciana said, okay, come and watch how I'm working. And she had a client, and I don't speak Italian at all. So I was just sitting on a sofa for 1 hour, watching a program, watching an interview, and I had no idea what's going on. But because I was not understanding what's going on, I was much more focused on visual.
Yes.
And I saw that there is some magical happening between Luciana and her client. The client, it was a 50-year-old woman. She came to her, she was really nervous. Her eyes were always down, you know, she was not even looking to Luciana. And she was trying to tell something, Italian. Luciana was asking her, and this woman, it's like in a time-lapse movie, you know, like when the rose is blossoming, and you see 1 hour in several seconds.
Yes, exactly.
And this is what happened to me. You know, I saw this change of the woman, and I said, it's a magic. I have to know more about Luciana. And Luciana is so I spent several days with her, talking, watching her, and she's a very good psychologist, and she really loves to talk with people. So even, you know, if would nobody pay her, if it will be even forbidden,
yes,
she will do this because she loves it.
At that moment, are you thinking, because I thought there was a really clever thing in the passage of time, she uses like key phrases when she's speaking to her clients to introduce the idea of how her methodology. And what was fun is, like, in that one conversation, you're allowed to show her, Luciana, with different costumes. You also, the subjects, I thought that was really interesting, how she appraises the clients and introduces herself to the clients. When you're sitting in that first on-set session, are you thinking creatively about, okay, I want the camera to sort of like involve both cosmic worlds in a way? Like were you already thinking structurally about how you wanted to frame those scenes?
No.
Okay.
No, from the very beginning I had no idea how the film will be. Actually, the whole setup, and also the thing that it really looks like a fiction film.
Yes.
It comes out from the disadvantage that I don't speak Italian.
Yes.
Because I knew that I cannot interrupt the interview. So basically we have to set up the camera in a very fixed position because we cannot move because I have no idea when the cinematographer is moving. So we have to set up the camera and not move it for 20 minutes minimum or half an hour until the dialogue is finished. Then I get the translation, then we can change it. Because the camera is fixed, we have time to make the lighting and everything, because why not? So this is how all this cinematic setup was born. And we spent really days and days. We had something like 52, 55 shooting days. And most of them were in Luciana's office. And this was the most interesting part of the filming, because I realized that the people are very happy to play. So basically we did the first session, and then we repeated the same session several times. And the people were enjoying it, you know, like telling the same stories, answering the same questions from different angles. So this is how we were able to do the setup. And basically during these interviews I found out how many other layers it have, how much it is really about relationships, how much it is about this typical Freudian joke, you know, what is the relationship with your father?
Yeah.
And during the filming we were just peeling it like an onion and slowly putting it into the film.
I was thinking, like tonally it reminded me of something called The Mole Agent that was a recent Brazilian film. I was also thinking, like, if Ulrich Sedel's characters in his docufilms were, you know, on better medication, they would be a lot more happier. They might look like this. I had so much fun looking at your tableaus. I think the most iconic image of the film is when you have the twins sort of like in the swimming pool, but beyond that there's just every single setup was so much fun to look at, whether we're up close from behind. Like for you, just like, did you feel like you were a kid in a candy store, like experimenting with shot setups? I was even thinking of the thin blue line at some point when we're in the car. I'm like, recreation of events. Like, how much fun was it for you to just do all those setups the moment we're outside the office obviously? Yeah, did it remind you of your first attraction to cinema, like to set up a tableau?
Definitely, yes.
Yes.
I'm happy that you mentioned Ulrich Seidel.
Yes.
Because when we were joking with my cinematographer how the film should look like, I said it's a romantic version of Ulrich Seidel.
Yeah.
Or let's make it like if Ulrich Seidel would be an Italian director. Because Seidel is a very big inspiration for my movies. And what I realized that the people love to play. So basically it is a documentary because it's real people in real situations, but you can set up the situations. And the twins were really enjoying the situations in Beirut, in Lebanon, because we were preparing it in a very cinematographic style.
Yes.
And it's kind of making a animal documentary, like BBC.
Or are you following a rock group a little bit, maybe?
No, because the rock group you cannot direct.
Yeah, so yes, you're right.
But this is more like, you know, like when you are making films about animals, you prepare an artificial cage.
Yes.
And we had a cage of the frame. So we said, okay, like don't move here, don't move here. This is the frame. But inside of the frame, you are absolutely free to do anything. And then you just let them play. And usually the first 15 minutes are really a nightmare because they are terribly acting.
Yes.
And then they just forget the camera. And then they are bored. And then after 30 minutes, it's really like, it's a treasure.
Yes, yes.
It's really beautiful, and they have very nice conversations. And it was really a joy to make anything like this.
Your process, as you described in the Q&A yesterday, is that you did I won't call it a casting, is you did an earnest research to find people that wanted those services, and then ultimately you brought it down to 5 protagonists. What I really appreciated was like the strategy behind how you work with the different story arcs. We begin at the onset with just a couple of ideas, and we're not necessarily, you don't feel the need to to add any completion to their stories. It's sort of like as if they're intermixed with each other. And so we end up with something really rich at the end, is with the Taiwanese and being mixed in with somebody who starts smoking cigarettes at 8 in her 70s, like becoming a bad girl. I really liked the fact that we sort of like, it felt like a gradual ascension to different lives. How much of, did you have that from the onset, or is it something that you sort of like methodically found in the edit?
Yeah. In the beginning, the project was too complicated to think about complicated structure.
Yes.
The only thing I knew that there have to be Luciana with her daughter, like some intercourse in the film.
Yes.
But the rest of the stories we planned like single stories, that it will be 5 episodes.
Perhaps vignettes and something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then when we had the 5 episodes, like all of them, there were how do you say it in English, alone.
Yes.
And when we had them, then we started to invent how we can cross-edit them. And it was really a beautiful work, because we finished the editing of the 5 stories on 1st of September, exactly, 2023.
Okay.
And it was quite simple. It's quite fast. Took us 6 weeks. And then we were just playing with cross-editing. And I think we had something like 7 completely different versions of the film. And with my editor, it was really a joy. I never had in my films before such a joy to come to the editing room and say, okay, let's destroy everything what we made until now and let's start from the scratch. And I think this is I don't know if it is the best version, but it's a version that I
like it a
love
lot.
most.
I like who we end up, because the last figure is the mother-father estranged relationship. But she navigates that, and like and plus what I like about her is that she actually takes the advice and goes with the advice.
Yeah.
A lot of people were hesitant. They don't end up going to Brazil. They don't end up going to the Arctic, or Antarctica, I should say. But she actually takes it as truth, and she goes with it. So it sort of like reconfirms the doubts that your protagonist has. Like, oh, they sort of listen to me when they want to, and this one really takes it at heart, and she really does that exercise. So it proves validity to what the pseudoscience might say, is like, okay, she did that on her own will. And I think there's a lot of entry points into that story too.
And also for me it was very important, because it's about making a peace with your parents. Like, she was not able to find a boyfriend because she was in a permanent anger with her father, who was absent.
Yes.
And I'm a filmmaker. I'm permanently absent. I'm here in Marrakech and I'm not with my daughter. So I wanted to have it like a happy end, like, come on girls, make a peace with your fathers. It's really important, not just for them, but also for you.
It's always something that we can't take for granted, is this idea of earning trust of the people that you do film. Again, during the Q&A yesterday, you mentioned that, once you sign this document, what I decide to portray is going to be what the hell I want to do. But as you mentioned during the Q&A as well, is that you were a bit antsy about how you want to portray it. Did you fall in love with these people?
Yes.
So that's automatic. One of the first rules of documentary film, I guess, is that you can't like your subjects. You have to keep a distance, but I guess in this case you failed.
No, I think this, you was reading a bad rules.
Yes.
I think, no, I always in love with my protagonist, really. And I know that I'm responsible for their lives.
Yes.
Because even, a small thing, they were in a movie, the movie was in Venice, they were stars, on a red carpet. It changed their lives, and even if not, you are spending some time with them, you are discussing with them, you are changing their point of view. So of course, you are always responsible, and it's nice when you are in love with them.
Michael Apted felt felt really responsible for those kids.
Yes.
Up until in their 60s, he was still responsible for them in some level. So, from what I know from your filmography, is that docufilm sort of complements your need to create fiction. And I imagine you already have other projects. I don't want to. I think on my tracking list, I have you list, because when we spoke to you, I think it was last year for 107 Mothers.
Yes.
You had already other stuff into play, so I imagine right now you're working on different projects with the Czech funding, but also co-productions with other countries.
Yeah.
So where might we see you next year?
Okay, I'm finishing. I decided after working on a film where 99% I had no idea what's happening on the set because I don't speak Italian. I said I have to make a film where I can have a permanent dialogue with my protagonists. So I'm going much more back to my documentary roots.
Okay.
I'm making a film about Košice marathon race. It's the oldest marathon in Europe.
Yeah.
It's 100 years old.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a love letter to my city.
Okay.
And as you can see, I'm not a marathon runner. But it's a film.
Yes, the marathon film.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a film where I'm watching how the people had not just to run because they want to win the marathon, but my fellow citizens, they very often had to run just to save their lives because they were Germans, Jews, Hungarians. You know, you are in Central Europe. There is a period where you are always some wrong nationality, religion, or political part. So this is a history of running, escaping.
Reminds me of the Stasny brothers who had to leave.
Ah, yes.
Yes, they had to leave, and it was very traumatic. And what you leave from, you're also leaving stuff behind.
Very much.
So you split that you split your headset in a way, your mindset.
Yes. So this is the film that we are editing now, and
okay, cool.
hopefully in next year it will be ready.
Eric from IONCINEMA.com. If you want to support us, subscribe below. For more reviews, interviews, film festival coverage from Sundance, Cannes, Toronto, you want to check out these guys on this side.